A very good afternoon and many thanks for joining us here at TV 47, 4 days to the end of March 2020. For this, as usual, this is In Other News. My name is Winnie Maganga, and in studio today, I'm joined with my panelists. For the very first time, we have Andrine Kilemi, who's director, producer, anchor, reporter at the same time. We have Keith, we have Emmanuel Inonda. Welcome to the studio, guys. First things first, water, they say water is life, right?
Yes.
And currently Nairobi County has an issue of water. I don't know if Nairobi has cartels of water. There are some estates that do not actually have water. Example of estate, especially in Nairobi, we have Umoja, Umoja 2, Umoja 3, and also in Kisumu County. So, Keith,
yes,
what do you think about it?
Yes, Winnie, it's quite interesting that we constantly have a perennial water problem in Nairobi.
Yeah.
And given that our water towers are always a subject of discussion in the media, from the Aberdare water tower to the thicker reservoirs, we've looked at recent events in the media where we say that our water supply has been steady. The Masinga dams have been having a constant rise in water supply. It's been raining. And it doesn't make sense when we constantly hear that we're having water supply issues. I'm beginning to think it's less about the supply and more about developmental challenges that people are constantly constructing and not figuring out how we're going to supply these residences and these households and these structures with water and sewage services.
Emmanuel, what's your take? Do you tend to agree with Keith? Or will you disagree?
Okay, Keith is just correct, but what I can say is that Nairobi, let's say Kenya in general, but you asked about Nairobi. We've had poor leadership since independence.
Not only Nairobi, by the way.
Yeah.
The shortage as well is happening in Kisumu County.
Yeah. We've had poor leadership since independence. If you talk about Kisumu, remember Kisumu has a fresh water lake. There's nothing that will, what do I say, will make the government not to clean the Lake Victoria water and then supply it to the whole of the country. Let me say all of the country. If you look at Libya, for example, Gaddafi, it's a desert, but Gaddafi did what? He got water so many miles, so many thousands of miles away and then supplied it to everyone. Here in Nairobi, we've never even thought of trying to harvest water. So what is it? We just rely on the dam water. When the dam dries up, then here we are, water shortage. Then the other thing, we have the cartels in Nairobi. These guys will hold water. When there is water shortage, then they release water at a higher fee. Then you have to buy because water is life. So I think the issue of water in Nairobi or in Kenya in general, it's purposely created so that you can generate some income for the few cartels who actually rule the country.
Let me throw the question to Andrine. Andrine, do you think in Nairobi County, just like Emmanuel has said, we tend to have water cartels, like people are doing things to pocket money in a particular pocket or something?
Yes. I agree. We have water cartels not only in Nairobi, but in Kenya at large. And it is interesting that you're talking about water crisis, especially now that we have COVID-19 with us.
Yes.
And one of the measures is to regularly clean your hands using water and soap. And you're talking about water crisis. Look at the people in the slums. People in Huruma, people in Majengo, people in Kibra. Those people need water, but when you go there, you find that we have water shortage in those areas. Yet we expect them to practice what the Ministry of Health is telling us to do. And it is a very unfortunate that we have leaders that we chose. We work very early to go queue in very long lines to cast our votes, only for us to come again and suffer for something basic such as water.
Amazing.
If I may, I find it quite interesting that we're looking at water as this word that keeps being thrown around, cartels. What do we mean cartels? Why are there people who have the authority, the power to curtail and control a resource that is of the government? The government is the power that we have, we the people. I remember the first line of the Constitution is, we the people give unto the government the authority. So when we've vested this authority in our governments, who are these cartels that are greater than our government, are greater than the people of Kenya? That beats logic. And looking at the issue of Kisumu water, I remember on Pledge Watch this week, we had Kisumu East Member of Parliament, Shakil Shabir, saying that it's a managerial failure. And it brings to question, what do we mean a managerial failure? Why are we putting into authority persons and personalities who cannot foresee that we need these resources? We the people need these things done. Who are we giving it to?
Yes.
Anyway. Just to add on that, Winnie, before you move forward.
Yes.
Remember in 1980, Nairobi had a population of around less than 1 million people. Then the same water that is being pumped from Dakaini is the same water that was being supplied here. Right now, we have a population of 4.5 million using the same supply.
Yeah.
No upgrade, no nothing. So you can imagine, even in 5 years' time, we'll have a lot of population here. There's no water upgrade in
water supply.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Apart from water and water cartels in Nairobi and also in Kisumu County, I understand that the SGR and ferry are just schedules to fit the curfew. Just the other day, the president of this nation said that there will be a curfew from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. To avoid the spread of COVID-19. But yesterday, I understand there was a stampede in Mombasa at the ferry channel in Likoni, whereby those guys who are boarding the ferry were actually throwing stones to the police. Reason being, they don't want to keep that social distance. What's your take on that, Andrine?
It is a good move, yes, for the SGR. And I was also reading somewhere yesterday, and I think we had that story on air, that Modern Coast also have adjusted their travel list, that we have the last bus arriving to its destination at exactly 6 p.m. so that everyone is home by 7 p.m. Yes, that is good. But then when you look at people causing a chaos in the train and not wanting to keep distance, then I think there's something wrong with us. We know one of the measures is to at least stay 1 meter apart. Social distancing is what we are preaching, but it's not what you're drinking. So if you're told
people are preaching water and drinking wine
at
the same time.
If you're told to keep distance, please do that. And also, when you talk about the curfew, I am yet to see how it's going to happen today. This being the first day, I have seen a lot of videos online. I have seen people make fun of Kenya, saying that we have finally found the solution to this deadly virus that's in a spread usiku. So I'm yet to see how it's going to take place.
Keith, what's your take on that?
Well, I find Kenyans are very fascinating lot of people. We are petrified at the idea of death. We are scared of what coronavirus and COVID-19 is doing around the world, and yet we are unwilling to shape up. It's a fascinating balance. We want to have our cake and eat it, which has never happened. You either have the cake or you eat the cake. In this case, we either retain social distancing and stay safe, or run into crowds, flood up our ferries, commune and convene, and we fall sick.
You see, but by the end of the day, also the SGR has also suspended their trip from Mombasa to Nairobi.
Yes,
just that to avoid.
And that is a very prudent move by the SGR management company, because look at what it means to have a train moving between two extremes of the country in 5 hours. In the unfortunate event that this was a faster spreading and faster killing virus, in 5 hours we're already having an epidemic in Mombasa, and then in Nairobi, and then in Suswa, shortly in Kisumu. We'd be unable to contain it.
Yes, so, sorry, Kid. And you see, the thing with this virus is you're not able to tell whether you have it until it's much later. Until it's much later. And by the time you discover, it's already done a very great damage, you know.
Yesterday I saw guys are trying to run up and down the police of the ferry. You know, the other day when President Uhuru was giving this speech, he said that the ferry will be under the police. So the police will try to enforce that order of keeping social distance. But you know, sometimes there are guys who are who have no idea what this virus is, they'll try to tend to know more than what the government or the police knows. So I think the government, it will try to streamline the ferry thing. It will reduce the spread of the virus because you see it's social distance, assuming that one person has the virus, then you see how the Kenya ferry, the Likoni ferry is very overcrowded. Very many people will be affected because you cannot sneeze on that ferry. It must reach someone who is close to you because of the overcrowding. Then talk of the SGR, I think suspending is good, but you know you don't need to stop all the activities like traveling because the train is big enough. You can do social distance unless if it fears something else. But according to me, it could have suspended just the night trips, but not.
Good. We've started on a different note today. We didn't start with coronavirus. Now back to coronavirus. The US tops in coronavirus cases, overtaking China and Italy. And overtaking meaning they have more than 83,000 cases, confirmed cases of coronavirus in US alone, and more than 1,172 deaths. What's your take on that, Keith?
Well,
considering Trump had said this is China virus. Yes.
China virus.
Yes.
Well, I'll never support President Trump's sentiments, calling it China virus. That was very, and for lack of a better word, racist of him. However, looking at how the US has handled COVID-19's spread, and looking at the kind of social structure that the US has, I'm not entirely surprised that the numbers have grown so starkly, so fast. You see, US is a greatly interconnected country with lots of transport and social settings. Take the city of New York, for example, which is currently the western epicenter of COVID-19. New York has crowded streets, for one.
Yes.
Their main mode of transport is their subway line, which subway tells us is underground. It's a train carrying multiple people, different stops, different boroughs. It has quite the capacity to spread the virus very, very fast. Furthermore, when China, if you take a comparison of what China did vis-a-vis the US, when China realized that we're having an outbreak in Wuhan district, immediately they went out to zero out the area, cordon it off. You work from within yourselves. Anything that you need will be brought to you. Going out of Wuhan was a lie. Look at the contrast to the US. US remained business as usual, remained allowing people to continue the operations to the best of their ability. It's an unfortunate thing that I feel we might end up being another copy of the US, given that we are taking very slow, lax steps towards curbing COVID-19. I pray that I am wrong. I genuinely pray that I am wrong.
Manu, what do you think? Okay, you remain being wrong. Let's hear Manu's take.
I think the US, you know, it has also a lot of population, but not more than China.
Yes.
Recently, just the other week, President Trump was announcing that, okay, we have found, we'll be using chloroquine it will treat this virus. So I think very many people, thought, okay, now that we have a solution, we don't need to take a lot of caution about this virus. That's why they've overtaken China and Italy that fast. Right now it's at 85,991.
Yes.
So I think sometimes, you know, sometimes the way Trump addresses these guys, they don't take it seriously. When he said it's a Chinese virus, now some of them knew, okay, now this is a Chinese virus. It will affect the Chinese alone.
Yeah.
We are the Americans. We are the superpower. We'll be able to get, we have a very good army that will get the antidote. So they didn't take caution so much. So unless something happens, the numbers are going to grow very fast. But again, I've heard some of the Western media outlets saying, okay, China is lying about its numbers. It's more than what it's displaying on media. Things on the ground are different, but I tend to disagree with them because some of the Chinese doctors who are manning Wuhan, they have gone back to their homes because they've contained these things. So the US somehow is another type of Kenyan.
Yeah. Well, let's hear Adrian's take then.
Yes, I share the same sentiments with the gentleman. Yes, I think what the president in US said was quite racist, just like Keith put it. Also, the way they are dealing with it, they are a bit reluctant, yeah? Like Manu said, it is another Kenya, where people take their time, you know, they do not rush to make the right decisions. We are the doubting Thomases, we are told, do this. I remember the first time when we had the first case reported here in Kenya, guys were like, hiyo corona haiko Kenya, Kenya inataka pesa, wamestopisha BBI rege, walisema haita stop. Now look at where we are. We are at 31 cases. And yesterday, unfortunately, we registered 1 case. So it's about time that, like they say in Swahili, of course I cannot dare not speak Swahili, that kinga ni bora kuliko tiba. So we better take that caution before it is too late.
So true.
Actually, I tend to agree with her. The first time this case was announced, Twitter was trending. Okay, World Health Organization say that it will give out 6 billion. Now Kenya has registered a case. Right now we're at 31. Now the reality is hitting them. Others are saying, okay, these numbers are cooked. It's more than 31, you are past 100. So you see, we are just like Americans.
Okay, fine, guys. Let's talk about corruption. Corruption has been Uhuru's Kenyatta biggest nightmare in this country. And apparently, the Kenya Ports Authority managing director, that's Daniel Manduku, has finally resigned. Case being allegation of, cases being linked to corruption. What's your take on that, Emmanuel?
You know, corruption has become part of us now in Kenya.
At a part of us?
What do you mean? It's become part of us. Let me tell you. Some guys say, for you to be a Kenyan, you must be corrupt. All the departments, everything in Kenya, whether it's private sector or the public sector, at least there's a case of corruption. We've seen so many guys since, let me say since independence, we've had so many scandals. Right now, Uhuru's tenure since 2013 up to now, we've had so many other scandals here and there, but nothing is being done to show that actually we are fighting the corruption.
But you see, at the end of the day,
Uhuru will tell you, step aside, resign, you will be investigated. After the investigation are done, you're found clean, you go and vie for a political seat, you are a hero. Thereafter, you start crying about corruption again. So I don't think this thing is being fought in any way.
But I think, trust to me, Manuel, I think this. I think the president of this nation is really trying to fight corruption. A good example, let's see at the governor of Kiambu County, Ferdinand Waititu, just like that, he lost his seat and his deputy took over. You understand? Also, the other thing, the governor of Nairobi County, akuna issues mingi, corruption in
but let me tell you why why the president is not fighting corruption. He doesn't even have the goodwill to fight corruption. The so-called governor of Kiambu was not fit to vie for election. Before that, he was corrupt, he was not fit to vie for. Same as for the Nairobi governor. But what happened?
Yes, I wanted him to speak. Because I'm sure I'm feeling pressed mile. Yes, Andrine.
I want to agree with what Manu is saying. We might be out there, our leaders rather might be out there telling us how much effort they are putting in fighting corruption. But kwa grao maze vitu ni different. It's just about PR. Look at the case of, he talked about the Kiambu governor. First of all, he was not fit to vie for that position.
You think so?
Yes. Look at Kirinyaga County. Kirinyaga County, before we had the governor, alikuwa amekumbwana. There was a scandal before that. But who are we? Bado tulimchagua. Look at, we recently had the case of Babu Owino. It was very evident on a CCTV footage what he did, but alitolewa. But we have other people in this country. What I have come to understand is, if you have the money, then you buy justice. So we are not fighting corruption in any way.
Keith, what do you think?
I've thought very critically about what I should say on this, and I'll borrow from something my lecturer taught me back in campus. On culture, and a quote that culture is a people's accepted way of life. Now, when we say corruption is a Kenyan culture.
Yes, it's a Kenyan thingy.
It's a Kenyan, no, let's say Kenyan culture. Quoting that culture is a people's accepted way of life.
Yes.
Are we saying that Kenya accepts a lawless nature, a corrupt nature to be our way of life? Are we that mediocre?
Yeah, we are.
Is that what we are agreeing to be?
Yeah, we were accepted.
And you see, Emmanuel, that you're saying we accept. Why would we accept and still in the same breath?
But you see, by the end of the day, Keith, even accepting, Keith is not.
We are accepting.
No,
we are not.
We can't do anything. We can't do anything by the exactly. That's the point.
You remember?
Yeah.
It is a situation that we cannot change, and if we have to change it, then we have a very long way to go.
Right? We do not have a long way to go.
Do you remember the chicken gate scandal?
Yes.
The guys in Europe were jailed because of the scandal, but when it came to Kenya, these guys were investigated and then they were cleared.
Exactly.
Here they shared the...
Look at it this way.
All I'm charging us Kenyans to do, and this is something that I have preached for a while, we need to get angry enough to say no more. If we say no more to our citizens being bullied for giving us the truth, the case example of the KQ employee, we said no more. Why are we not angry enough to say no more corruption nonsense?
Let's hear Andreen's views first before we go on
you're looking at it on the bigger picture. Look at it from the lower level. For example, if you are not a media personality, and today, since we are starting our curfew from 7 p.m. and you come across a police officer out there, akwambie nakushika ama utoe kitu kidogo, what would you choose?
But of course,
no, let's talk to you, Keith.
Now
let's talk to you.
What would
personally,
you do?
Why am I outside? You see,
listen, it's by mistake.
People.
You know you're not there intentionally.
It can't be by mistake.
No, you won't be there intentionally.
It can't be by mistake because you're aware.
Maybe you are running late. You are running late. Let me tell you
why you are outside that time.
Yes.
You are a media personnel, right?
Thank you.
But you forgot to carry your
press card.
Exactly.
Then you are arrested. Will
you give money?
So will you go to the?
Let me go in and I will explain my case to
No, please don't do this. Don't do this. This is PR now. What you are talking about?
It was not PR. I stand proudly today and say that I have zero police records, zero issues with the law, because anytime I'm confronted by a police officer and told this is what I want to charge you, then I'm like, officer, I'll give an example. The other day I boarded a motorbike. I was going for an interview somewhere. And just as I'm getting on the bike, an officer wants to arrest me. Officer, what is your issue? Guy comes at me, guns cocked and all, and says, I want to arrest you, you're a suspected criminal. Like, okay, hold up, suspected criminal. Am I the person you're pursuing? No.
Were they saying that you look like a criminal?
No, they were suspecting me for being a criminal, and I was not going to take it.
Kate, let me tell you, corruption starts with the
lowest person.
With you, actually.
When you tell your son or your daughter, okay, go to the shop, I'll give you 5 shillings, I'll give you a sweet, that's corruption. Then our leaders
have a short break, guys?
Yes, we can go for a short break.
For a short break, we will come back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Coronavirus COVID-19 is a respiratory virus spreading across the world. The infection is spread from droplets of coughing and sneezing of an infected person, touching or shaking hands, or being in contact with contaminated surfaces or objects with the virus. The signs and symptoms are fever, coughing, headache, body ache, difficulty in breathing. The disease can be prevented by regularly washing hands with soap and running water. Avoid close contact with people who have flu-like symptoms. Avoid handshake, hugs, and kissing. Also, protect yourself by covering your mouth or nose using a disposable tissue while coughing or sneezing. If you experience these symptoms and you had traveled or been in contact with a person from a country reporting COVID-19, you should isolate yourself for 14 days and seek immediate medical attention or report to the nearest health center. This message has been brought to you by the government of Kenya and its partners. For accurate information on COVID-19, dial *719# or call 719. Follow us on Twitter at MOH_Kenya, at spokesperson GOK, at WHO.
Welcome back, guys, and still in studio with my panel. Now, we shift focus now to in other news, where we discuss different topics that are trending. Some are trending, some are not. But first things first, how is floods related to Nairobi traffic? Every time there's rain, there has to be traffic. Are they related? Are they siblings? Are they siblings? Keith, you seem to be very excited. So, do you think they're siblings? Rain and floods and Evo, are they related?
I have a theory.
Yes.
Nairobi traffic and rain is like rice fields and water.
Hey, okay.
When it rains, our cars grow.
Yes.
We grow in numbers of cars. I never understand how. I will fund a scientific study to this effect to understand how it is that Ghafla bin Vu, we have more vehicles.
Traffic,
the moment we see not even the rain, clouds.
Yes.
We see clouds, and it's fascinating. You did not leave the house with a car.
Yeah.
But you're in the office, and it starts raining.
So you go for
and suddenly you have a car. You did not leave the house with it. It's in the house.
If you park somewhere, and rain, what's your take? Do you think floods and floods? Wow.
Rain,
floods. Yes. And traffic are related. That is the one question that I've been asking myself for the longest time.
Yeah.
That have been in Nairobi, not too long though. But I think there is a relationship between the two. I do not know what the relationship is, but there must be a relationship because every time, like Keith said, hata kunaweza tu kosa kunyesha, mawingu tu zishikane.
Yeah. I understand yesterday there was huge mud traffic along Thika Road. Yeah. Manuel, what ilikupata in between? As in, were you part of that? Stay stiff, eh? Gari zilikuwa at a parking lot, yeah.
Before I even go to yesterday's Thika Road traffic,
yeah.
You know, you're asking if there's a relationship between
floods and rain, yeah.
Floods and rain.
No.
Wait, floods and traffic.
Floods and rain and traffic.
Yes.
All of them together.
I think they are related because you see, when there are clouds, guys will start rushing home.
Yes.
Even if before time, they start rushing at home. So you'll find, let's say, 20 cars were to go home from 7 p.m., but there are rains. Those 20 cars will go home at 5 p.m., plus the one that were on the road already will start causing traffic. Then when it starts raining, there are some cars which are unroadworthy. The vision is very poor. This guy will start slowing down, thus building a lot of traffic. Then the other thing, the control, Nairobi is not, the flooding in Nairobi, let me specify Nairobi, is not controlled. So you find that there are roads that are not impassable. Go back to Thika Road yesterday, you find the area around Kahawa and Dani, the rainwater was sweeping away cars on Thika Road.
It was that heavy?
Yeah, it was sweeping away the cars. So many billboards were falling on the road. The road was blocked, and everyone wants to try and overlap. So you find the traffic. I think it's the ignorance of the Nairobians that's causing traffic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want, if I may, I will not leave it to the drivers per se, but it beats logic that we are so proud as citizens of Nairobi about Thika Highway, and yet a highway floods.
Yeah.
Let's ask ourselves that a highway floods. In the Greek, in our history, we learn about Greek constructions.
Yes.
They had roads, they had rains, they had no floods.
Yes.
What is wrong with us?
Okay.
But I think it's a global issue, because even if you went to China or the United States, we have some abnormal traffic there. It can last for 2 days. Forget about
the traffic is not the problem. I don't mind the traffic. My challenge is
flooding.
The floods.
I understand there's no relationship.
Those roads are also flooded.
Yes.
So on my side, I can say there's a relationship. Actually,
yes, the relationship is there, but that relationship, I think
it's a forced relationship.
It is, but
it's definitely a forced relationship.
Yes.
But also, like Keith said, it is the responsibility rather
exactly
of the Nairobians or the citizens in that area. Because if you look at a highway flooding, really, a highway that probably cost billions of money.
Yes.
And tunasema Thika super highway hata hatuna adabu. Thika super highway flood. Really, what are we saying?
Okay, apart from when it's raining, that's the only time it's not super highway. Anyway, moving away from floods and traffic and all, let's go to South Africa. There's a very interesting story in South Africa where the sex workers in South Africa want their president, they want their president to list them as essential workers during this lockdown on COVID-19. Before we even discuss that, I know Keith, unajua ni kama unawashwa, but before that, there's a video of the sex workers. Let's look at it.
Sex workers are calling on the president to include them as an essential service during lockdown. To discuss this now, I'm joined via Skype by Lisiho Twale from the Sex Workers Education and Advocacy Task Force. That's Sweat for Sure, as it's better known. Lisiho, good morning to you. Just explain your rationale. Why do you want to be considered an essential service at this time?
I mean, as we all know, that sex work is one of the oldest professions in the world. And with us being sex work activists, we consider this work, which is providing for families and for the workers. So for us, at this point, sex workers are the hardest hit at this point because of the nature of the work they do. It requires physical contact. And with the national lockdown enforced, it means that there's no contact that sex workers can do with the clients or ways of making money during this pandemic. So we're saying to the government, while you're looking at assisting and aiding other workers during this time, also think of sex workers who are also hardest hit, who also are losing income due to this pandemic. So we're saying to the government, yes.
How do you propose that should happen? From what I know, correct me if I'm wrong, most sex workers are not registered as employees.
Yes, and that is the problem we're having right now, because as Sweat, as you might know, we have been fighting for the decriminalization of sex work for over 20 years now. And for that mere fact, if sex work was decriminalized, sex work would be considered work and they would enjoy labor rights as every other South African in the country. So we're saying that sex work needs to be decriminalized so that in times like these, they can also be able to go and claim for UIF,
Okay.
Wow.
Just hold on. She just said that sex work is one of the old profession.
True.
Meaning, for them, it's like any other profession, like journalism, mechanic. What's your take? Yes, what's your take?
Just to help you understand that it is one of the oldest professions.
Wow.
Our Lord Jesus Christ, for those of us who conform to the Christian faith.
Preach, bro.
When he was in a Pharisee's house.
Yes.
And his feet were anointed by, was it Mary Magdalene?
Yes.
What was the Pharisee's issue? That this man allows a prostitute to touch his feet and call themselves a who?
A prostitute.
A sex worker.
Yes.
So yes, going back, if we want to go with recent calculation, 2020 years give or take, it was a profession in existence. So it works. It has been there. Now, in terms of them wanting to be essential services, I feel it's a catch-22 situation because I agree. They provide an essential service to society.
But you see...
No, don't get me wrong, people. I'm not saying that...
Okay. Before that, let's hear from a woman's perspective. Andreen, what's your take? Do you think it's right that the sex workers in South Africa are asking their President Ramaphosa to not only include them, but they also want to be listed as essential services?
First of all, it is quite unfortunate that we have people who work, whose work or whose job is sex. People are sex workers. It is quite unfortunate, and I am sure they are doing that because they do not have any other option.
True.
Because at least I was lucky enough to speak to not a sex worker, but one of the strippers, and it is something they are doing just like I am doing journalism, just like you're doing mechanic, just like any other person is doing any other kind of job, because they're looking for money. So them asking that their government give them an opportunity to be listed as essential workers, I would say, I don't know. It is their right, yes, that they be given that opportunity to be listed as essential workers. Although I am sure it is not going to work in that particular country, not in any other country, because all of us are trying to fight this deadly virus.
Exactly.
But if there was an option or a way out, then it is their right. Kwani, where will they get food from?
Manuel, listen. Manuel, let me ask. To whom are they selling these services to? Yet there are no people on the street.
Good question.
Yes.
You know, South Africa and sex, it's not a new thing. This thing has been in news for long, including their president, their former president, and even their ministers. We remember the Malusi Gabala, the Minister for Home Affairs. South Africa was implicated in so many sex scandals. So these guys have taken it as a normal way of life. That's why they are trying to go to their customers, to petition them to their customers, to allow them to offer the services. You see, right now there's a, let me say, a state of emergency, if not a lockdown. It's a lockdown down there. The only people who normally break the law to go outside at night are the politicians. So they are just going for their customers,
for the regulars.
So it's nothing new.
Actually, if I may, I'd say that why it's a catch-22 for them is that they know that they have the market share. However, given what we are fighting here being a pandemic that is spread by interhuman contact. So yes, I understand why they'd want to be essential services. However, given the line of work that they're offering, it becomes complicated to allow you to continue plying your trade at the risk of the greater human population. So on this one, I was itchy about it because I'm interested to see how we maneuver through a very tight woven space that has been created on this challenge.
But also,
even Ramaphosa, when he was still the deputy president of South Africa, he was implicated in sex scandal with eight sex workers, if not. So, like I told you, they're just the customer thing. Now he's a president, that the sins of the past haven't gone. He can still allow them to do whatever they need to do, but they need to know this virus doesn't just go through the mouth alone. Even the eyes and the ears.
Really, I am glad that all of us are agreeing that we can see where these people are coming from and why they'd want to be listed as essential workers. But also, if, for example, they are given that leeway, who will they be working with? Because you see, their job requires that connection, that interhuman connection. Who will they be working with? Will these people be allowed, or will it be the essential workers like us, the journalists?
The
police officers. Who will they be working with?
They are customers with the politicians.
Sorry?
Guys, let's just
politicians, South Africa politicians.
Guys, let's move on.
Okay.
All right.
Because I'm sure we will, this was Keith's topic of interest. Anyway, back to Kenya. Back to Kenya. Babu Owino. Yes, Babu Owino has said
yesterday.
Yes, that he wants to 50% of his salary to fight COVID-19. Is it an act of genuine kindness or is it just PR?
God.
Andrin, you think it's PR?
Yes, definitely. Yes, because he has the money, then he can give what he wants.
So he's not doing it out of a kindness or being generous?
On a scale of 1 to 10,
yes.
If it is kindness, then that is 4%, and then PR 6%.
Keith, what's your take?
I will not even use my take. I'll ask anyone who wants to understand the general people's feeling about Babu Owino. Just look at the hashtag, we love Babu Owino. And on basis of professionalism, I would not allow us to air all the tweets that we saw, but I'd want to see the animals that he's likened to. It was an image of Babu Owino and a series of animals, and it's very fascinating and sad. Babu Owino, I was with you in campus, and I feel sad that...
You just
what can I do?
Anyway,
what can I do?
It's okay.
Anyway, yes, I was in campus with Babu Owino, and I saw him rise from a humble self-sponsored student to the personality he is now. I will be very reserved with my adjectives today, but yes, the personality he is now. And seeing the growth, the change, it's an unfortunate state of affairs. It's unfortunate, Mr. Honorable, this honorable member, Babu Owino, you do a disservice to the name of the University of Nairobi.
Winnie, my take on Babu.
Yes.
Keith has said that he was humble. I tend to disagree with you. Babu Owino alikuwa na vituko mingi at the campus.
Okay, fine. Were you in campus together?
So
were you in campus as well?
Let me tell you, Babu Owino, I don't think it's PR because he's the first MP to do so, and he has done it in writing. Unlike other leaders who have been doing so since back in the time, in 2013, 2015, I'll take a pay cut, all that stuff, but they never did in writing. So they were getting all salary. Babu did it in writing, so I think it's not PR.
So just because he did it in writing, then
at least it will be implemented, unlike other guys who say they'll take pay cuts.
It will be implemented, but this guy has the money. That is why he has even that extra money to give out. Yeah. So just because it was done in writing doesn't mean that it is not PR.
Out of 10,
he's actually trying to clean his name after what happened with DJ Evolve.
But he's been paying the medical bill for Evolve, so...
Well,
because he has no option but to do that. I'm glad
the two of you can actually give him a rating
out of 10. I'll give Babu 7.
Like I said, I'm glad you can give him,
7 out of 10.
Give him a rating.
Okay.
I'll reserve mine.
Okay, fine, guys. Finally, siku ya mwezi wanasemanga ni 40. So the CEO of a Golden Skate, that's Peter Wangai, yes, he was arrested yesterday evening by serious crime unit on allegation, not even I don't know if it's allegation or
always allegations
allegation, yes, on Greenscape, that especially on agribusiness. He conned and before we even discuss about it, there's a video. Let's see. Ati what? So guys, Peter Wangai, finally, he was arrested. And on allegation, like you've said, Manuel, it's allegation. It's not something that it's proven until he's being taken to court and all. But he has been conning people, apparently, on agribusiness. You understand? Yeah. So do you think, or do you believe in green business, in agribusiness, in greenhouse businesses? Do you tend to agree, Manuel?
Okay. Like I told you, corruption and arresting is in Kenya.
Yeah.
Is a norm. Especially today is Friday, right?
Yes.
So this guy will have some sympathy over the weekend. Oh, he's been arrested at the wrong time as we are fighting Corona. Give him time, give him bail on Monday. Then his case will continue. Do you remember the gold scam where it was infiltrating so many politicians, all that stuff? He just went like that. So it's just another PR stunt by the government. Nothing is going to happen.
But you see, this guy, he has not conned like one individual. Thousand have lost money because of him at the same time. And this happened actually when he closed one of his offices in Nairobi and also in Kabete, in Lower Kabete. Keith.
Well, Winnie, it's unfortunate that with the green investment in Kenya, has been a pyramid scheme. It has been a quick cash scheme for those who have the large tracts of land, and there's an advert going about right now by a certain telecoms that show you how elaborately they'd come to you with a lengthy contracts, tell you how you're going to make certain percentages, and if you read the fine print, you understand that yes, it looks promising, but in the end they fail to deliver. And having gone about the industries a bit, it's not that they fail to deliver because of their own wants. Not that they intentionally want to con people. It's that people fail to commit to understanding what they're doing. You see, when I come into media, I know what I'm doing on media. So when you want to go and invest in green money, green investment, greenhouse investment, you have to understand that you want to create a business that is high risk, because you're working with nature. Will you control nature?
No.
In the event a plant just doesn't flourish, what have you as the proprietor? Because everyone else coming on board is an investor. The people who are feeling conned or investing in what you as a proprietor have brought into the market.
But you see, what I think is, you see, everyone that gets conned on such platforms, it's not that they do it willingly or they even know it. You understand? You know, you're being told, Keith, you know what? There's a acre piece of land somewhere, and we will even give you title deed. You understand? So you just agree. They'll even fake all those particular documents, and you will believe. Actually, you believe, because you see, by the end of the day, you're owning a quarter or a half
or a whole
piece.
Acre.
Exactly.
Really, that's
at a certain place.
Winnie, that's what I'm saying. This is not a case of conmanship. This is a case of people rushing into an investment ideal or an investment idea that both the proprietor and the investor are green about. You see, as a proprietor, you need to know that in the event that this crop yield does not mature, what am I doing? What insurance do I have to buffer both myself and my investor?
Exactly.
That's what people are failing at.
Okay.
So see, the problem with Kenyans, they'll rush into something after they see an advert, a billboard somewhere. They rush there without even, since they've seen it on media, they trust media so much.
Golden truth.
And then they'll...
Yeah, it is a problem that we as Kenyans have, but I think again, it is because of probably who we are. Our, what do we call it? The level at which we are economically, the kind of money that we get. We are a middle class society. And when you look at something and probably you look at it and you feel like this can add something and can add value to my life, then you want to go for it in the shortest way possible and using probably the minimum amount of money that you can use. So it is who we are, the type of people and the amount of money that we earn. We are middle class people, so when we get to see something that will help us in a very short time, then we go for it.
Yeah, we love free things, free stuff. Like you remember the pyramid schemes have come.
Yes.
Kenyans have lost so much money on it. So the moment you stop looking for free stuff and start working for it, then these cases will drop drastically.
So guys, let's leave all that zijujaze in between. So apparently, there are trending topics. I don't know if any one of you has seen any trending topics, but for me, I've seen more than 70,000 police will be deployed today countrywide waweze kusustain the curfew. Andreen,
yes,
have you seen some of
I have seen a few videos on WhatsApp and how people, and that's why I was saying I am eagerly waiting to see how
me too, me, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for 6:59.
Yes.
6:40 something. And also by the end of the day, my director is telling me we actually have those videos. Let's have a look at it.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Ndina mwana wefwe. Sasa nikuulizeko. Umesikia kwa imambo? Ati mbu corona ishafika Kenya. Naambiwa ati iko Nairobi. Na wacha nikuambie kitu moja, sisi huku Bungoma tushajipanga. Mikono tushanawa. I think hii corona ni mboka. Akuona venye wanaweza tu tuambie tu tunawe mikono na hii kitu si chakula. I think corona ni mboka. Mimi nimeshaenda kwa kisiaki, nishasiaka unga yangu, nimeiweka kwa nyumba na ngoje tu igali tu hivi Bungoma na changamukia. Na ndio maana nimekupigia nikuipie siri. Wenda kwa kisiaki, usiake unga yako, uweke kwa nyumba. Na si unakumbuka ile story ya Nsike locust. Silikuwa zimeterrorize Kenya lakini venye zilirandi tu hivi Bungoma, ushezisikia yako. Tunachangamukia hiyo kitu vizuri. Sawa mkhana wefwe. Lazima nikucha.
So, mi sitaki kuattack anyone, but
if the ship fits,
Keith and Emmanuel, I'm kutosheka na locust. So, meamua kama ni locust mvuke on the other side of corona. Who would even think corona is food? Like seriously, guys.
I really pray that this guy is the first one to be caught in the curfew.
How?
Keith, you know I'm not being caught. You know this. People, you want to know when we caught? Yes. Check on me at 7:01. I'll be chilling.
I'm saying the guy in the video.
Oh, the one running.
Why are you running? No, why are you running? Why are you running? That guy.
He will be caught. And funny thing, honestly, I feel that the police will be logical. I'm hoping they will be logical.
You think
Kenyan police?
no.
Are we talking talking about Kenya.
Logical. Let me tell you why.
Maybe somewhere else, but here.
Since the Kenyan police were withdrawn from the roads,
yes,
I think they've gone broke for some time.
Oh, goodness.
So they'll use tonight the curfew as an opportunity to stock up whatever they lost.
Trust me, leo mtu atapigwa vibaya.
Yeah.
Especially the guys.
So true.
At least for the ladies, they spare us sometimes, but for the guys, wow.
Especially in the morning, you know, we had a discussion
Yeah.
with one of our colleagues, Nurin. Tulikuwa wengi hapo reception, and we were discussing about how police will actually beat up people this evening. You understand? By the time atu mwambie I'm a media person, asha kupiga, lafu akikweka chini you're like, oh, ulikuwa ukisema nini? You understand? As in it will be so watu watakuwa wamepiga,
watu wataumizwa. Our police officers are defensive by the way.
They are very defensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, on this one I will differ with all three of you and push the mantra that we are with the new reformed Kenya Police Service.
Oh please.
These are no, that's my not just my belief, but my experience so far.
Is it the same police that usually batter university students that you're talking about?
Well,
jibu.
Is it the same police you're talking about? Or when did they reform? This month?
No, wacha nikwambie if you just dreaming and
dreaming, okay.
And you need to wake up from that particular dream.
Foot in mouth on that one. Fine. Dear Kenya Police Service.
Yeah.
Honorable Mtiambai. Help me win a case here.
Which
case?
We know
show them
they
that
have
your
history.
boys are
No, Kenyan police
upgraded.
have history. We've seen them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've witnessed them at the same time. You understand?
They've even changed
seven times.
They have even changed uniforms, but nothing has happened.
I know
they've changed the uniforms, the clothing, but roho ni ile.
What I can say,
very defensive.
Guys need to understand that the curfew, they need to be home, let's say by 6:30.
Yes.
The Uber guys, the Nduthi guys, all the Matatu guys, the shopkeeper guys, stay home.
Our time is up, guys.
Yeah, stay home.
Yes.
If someone calls you, come and pick me up. Please don't go, because you won't reach that destination without meeting the police.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Andreen, thank you. It was a pleasure having you. Keith, thank you so much. Emmanuel, thank you so much. And to everyone who was watching, everyone who made this program a success, from my director, Tracy, from my producer, Kawera, camera people, Noreen, Fraji, Tricasta Pale, Alice, who else? Sound, Kazungu, Caleb, Kolo at the same time. And I want to give a special shout out to those guys who are watching at home, especially my nephew. Oh my God, Niel, thank you so much. He's just 2 years, but he keeps on saying, Auntie Mafom. Anyway, guys, I was your host, Winnie Maganga. Until next time, many thanks and have a blessed afternoon.
Namaste.
Peterson, tumefutwa wote.
Yawa, pia wewe.
Tumeachiliwa.
Si pia wewe unaweza anzisha biashara yako.
Na hii economy venye iko tough sana.
But not too tough for mwananchi credit.
Tutafanya aje?
Si niko na 5 good cars. We can get a quick logbook loan approved within 6 hours.
Nataka kuanzisha salon na spa. Hii haitatosa.
Si tuko na title deed spare. We can still get more money using them. Get a quick approval within 6 hours using your logbook or title deed. Do not get stuck. Call Mwananchi Credit today. Si nilikuambia.
You are a big smart joke.
Mwananchi Credit. Investor in peace.
Siasa ni sawa na usiku wa giza. Usiku uliojaa siri, hila na karata.
I'm not money.
Na nitajaribu.
Na inahitaji ujasiri kuupenya.
Tunapiga mdomo sana, lakini hakuna kitu kigeni. Mimi huwezi niambia nikatae kwenda kukamua ng'ombe maziwa yangu nipeleke niende Mombasa. No, wenye wanakuja Mombasa ni wenye wanajiweza.